Welcome to Empires Explained, a channel dedicated to uncovering the mysteries behind the rise and fall of the greatest empires in human history. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for fascinating videos every Wednesday. In the heart of ancient India, beneath the crumbling palaces and fading glory, a grand military parade unfolds. The last remnants of the once mighty Mauryan Empire continues to stand. Emperor Brihadratha gazes upon his assembled forces, unaware of the storm brewing around him. A single figure steps forward, a trusted commander, Pushyamitra Shunga. What follows in this moment will alter the course of Indian history forever. The Mauryan Empire, under rulers like Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka the Great, stretches across the Indian subcontinent. Under Ashoka, the empire flourishes, but his death marks the beginning of the end of the Mauryan Empire. His successors, lacking his vision and strength, struggle to maintain the vast territories he leaves behind. The empire begins to fracture, with regional governors and chieftains growing increasingly independent, while foreign powers circle like vultures. Brihadratha Maurya, the last of his line, inherits not an empire, but a shadow of one. His rule is tenuous at best, held together by the loyalty of men like Pushyamitra Shunga, a brilliant but ambitious military commander. Pushyamitra is no mere soldier. He is a Brahmin by birth, rooted in the traditions of the old order. As the empire teeters on the brink of collapse, Pushyamitra sees an opportunity, a chance to restore what he believes is the rightful order. Pushyamitra silently gathers his strength. The Mauryan military, though weakened, remains a formidable force, and Pushyamitra commands its loyalty. Brihadratha, oblivious to the danger lurking within his own ranks, orders a grand parade to display the might of his army. As the day of the parade approaches, whispers circulate among the troops, a sense of unease creeping in. Pushyamitra, ever the strategist, ensures that key military leaders are either loyal to him or too intimidated to oppose him. The parade begins. The emperor rides proudly before his soldiers, unaware that each step he takes brings him closer to his end. In a split moment, Pushyamitra steps forward, drawing his sword, the sun glinting off its edge. Before Brihadratha can react, the blade finds its mark. The emperor falls. A moment of silence hangs in the air. The soldiers, bound by the chain of command and the presence of their now leader, do not move. The last Mauryan emperor lies dead, and with him dies the dynasty that once ruled all of India. Pushyamitra, with the blood of an emperor on his hands, stands as the new ruler. The empire, once the largest in Indian history, is now his. Pushyamitra crowns himself as the first ruler of the Shunga dynasty. The once great Mauryan Empire is now history, replaced by a new order that promises a return to Brahminical orthodoxy, a shift from the Buddhist policies that had dominated under Ashoka. But he has much work to do, with the Indo-Greek kingdoms seeing an opening, lying in wait, looking to seize an opportunity as this new fledgling dynasty finds its footing. The Indo-Greek kingdoms, remnants of Alexander the Great's conquests, have long cast a shadow over the Indian subcontinent. These kingdoms, particularly powerful in Bactria and the northwestern frontiers of India, see the fertile Gangetic plains as the ultimate prize. Under rulers like Demetrius I and later Menander, they expand their reach, pushing further into India with each passing year. The Hellenistic culture they bring threatens to overshadow the traditional values and religious revival that Pushyamitra Shunga, a staunch defender of Brahminical orthodoxy, fights to preserve. Pushyamitra knows that his newly established reign is vulnerable. The stakes are high. If the Indo-Greeks succeed in their invasion, the Shunga Empire could crumble before it even has a chance to solidify its rule. The Indo-Greek forces, led first by Demetrius and later by the formidable Menander, begin their incursions into Indian territory. Demetrius's initial invasion, around 180 BC, tests the resolve of the fledgling Shunga Empire. Though records are scarce, it is clear that Pushyamitra, leveraging his knowledge of the terrain and strategic military tactics, manages to hold the line. The Shunga soldiers, under his command, fortify their positions, using the natural barriers of rivers and forests to their advantage. The Indo-Greek forces, while powerful, are unprepared for the tenacity of the Shunga defense, and their advance stalls. But the real test comes with Menander, whose invasion around 155 BC poses a far greater threat. Menander is not just a king. He is a warrior of immense skill and experience, leading a well-trained and disciplined army. His goal is clear: push beyond the Western territories and into the heart of the Shunga Empire, seizing the rich lands that have been the backbone of Indian power for centuries. Pushyamitra knows that the coming confrontation will not only decide the fate of his empire, but also the future of Indian civilization as he envisions it. The clash between Pushyamitra's forces and Menander's army erupts near the Shunga frontier. Neither side is willing to concede an inch of ground. Pushyamitra directs his troops with ruthless efficiency. His strategy is clear: wear down the Indo-Greeks, exploit their weaknesses, and use the familiar terrain to outmaneuver them. Menander's advance falters. The Shunga forces, having endured the onslaught, begin to push back with renewed vigor. Menander, realizing that he cannot sustain his offensive, orders a retreat. The Indo-Greek forces withdraw, bloodied and beaten, leaving Pushyamitra victorious. The immediate threat to the Shunga Empire is averted. The Indo-Greeks, having failed to penetrate the Gangetic Plains, retreat to their territories in the northwest. Their ambitions of expanding further into India thwarted. Pushyamitra, seizing the moment, strengthens his empire's western defenses. Fortifications are built, and garrisons are established along key routes to ensure that no future invasion can occur near the heart of the empire. However, the fall of the Mauryan Empire leaves a void across central India and the Deccan. Once unified territories have splintered into semi-independent states, each ruled by chieftains who now assert their autonomy. The vast region, from the fertile plains of Malwa to the rugged terrain of Vidarbha and the expansive Deccan Plateau, is a patchwork of power struggles and shifting alliances. Pushyamitra Shunga, having secured his rule over the northern heartlands, now turns his gaze inward. The Mauryan legacy, though fading, still lingers, and Pushyamitra knows that to truly solidify his empire, he must reassert control over these lands. Central India and the Deccan are not just rich in resources, they are strategically vital for maintaining trade routes and securing the empire's southern borders. Pushyamitra understands that this is not merely a military campaign, it is a quest to restore order, the disparate regions into a cohesive state. Pushyamitra's forces move swiftly through the plains of Malwa, encountering scattered resistance from local rulers. The Shunga soldiers, hardened by years of battle, press forward, reclaiming towns and fortresses that once belonged to the Mauryan Empire. The city of Vidisha, strategically positioned and agriculturally rich, falls under Shunga control with little bloodshed. The campaign intensifies as Pushyamitra pushes deeper into Vidarbha. The region's rulers, sensing the threat to their autonomy, rally their forces, determined to resist the Shunga advance. The terrain becomes more challenging. Pushyamitra's army faces ambushes and guerrilla tactics as they navigate the rugged landscape. Despite these challenges, Pushyamitra's resolve does not waver. He knows that controlling Vidarbha is key to securing the empire's southern frontier and the vital trade routes that connect the north to the Deccan. In the foothills of the Deccan Plateau, Pushyamitra's army confronts a formidable coalition of local chieftains. The Shunga forces, though outnumbered, fight with the discipline and ferocity of seasoned warriors. Pushyamitra himself is in the thick of the battle. Pushyamitra orders a daring maneuver, sending a portion of his forces to flank the enemy from the rear. The tactic catches the coalition by surprise, their ranks break, and the Shunga forces press the advantage. By nightfall, the battle is won. The chieftains either surrender or flee, leaving the Deccan open to Shunga control. With the battle won, Pushyamitra turns to the task of consolidation. He appoints loyal governors to oversee the newly acquired territories, ensuring that the Shunga authority is firmly established. Forts are constructed along key trade routes, and garrisons are stationed to maintain order. Pushyamitra understands that true control is not won solely through force. It must be secured through the hearts and minds of the people. He promotes Brahminical culture and Vedic rituals across these regions, solidifying the Shunga dynasty's legitimacy. Temples are erected and festivals celebrated, weaving the newly conquered territories into the cultural fabric of the empire. The Shunga Empire stands at a critical juncture. Pushyamitra Shunga, the founder of the dynasty, has passed, leaving the throne to his son, Agnimitra. He has long been at his father's side, involved in the governance and military campaigns that have shaped the Shunga rule. The empire, vast and diverse, stretches from the northern plains of India to the central highlands, but its unity is fragile. Vidarbha, a region of central India known for its fierce independence, once fell under the influence of the Mauryans and later the Shungas. Yet its rulers have always harbored ambitions of autonomy. Yajnasena, the king of Vidarbha, sees Pushyamitra's death as an opportunity. He believes that the new ruler, untested and possibly vulnerable, can be challenged. Vidarbha's rebellion is not just a bid for freedom, it is a test of Agnimitra's leadership and the stability of the Shunga Empire. As news of the rebellion spreads, Agnimitra knows that swift and decisive action is necessary. The Vidarbhan forces, bolstered by local support and emboldened by the perceived weakness in the Shunga leadership, begin to assert control over their territory. Agnimitra, however, is not one to be underestimated. He gathers his forces and marches toward Vidarbha, determined to crush the rebellion and reassert Shunga dominance. Agnimitra's advisors warn him of the treacherous terrain and the loyalty of Vidarbha's people to their king. As the Shunga forces approach the borders of Vidarbha, skirmishes break out. The Shunga soldiers, aware of the significance of their mission, fight not just for victory, but for the survival of their empire. Agnimitra's forces manage to breach the defenses of the Vidarbhan camp. Agnimitra himself confronts Yajnasena on the battlefield. Yajnasena falls. The rebellion crumbles. The Shungas emerge victorious, their control over Vidarbha reasserted. With the rebellion suppressed, Agnimitra turns his attention to consolidating power in Vidarbha. The battle may be won, but Agnimitra understands that true stability requires more than just military might. He invests in rebuilding the region, fostering ties with local leaders, and promoting the cultural and religious practices that align Vidarbha with the broader Shunga Empire. The Shunga Empire, once a powerful force in northern India, is in decline. Devabhuti Shunga ascends to the throne. Unlike his forebears, Devabhuti lacks the strength and vision to maintain the empire's cohesion. Before Devabhuti's rule, the The Shunga Empire experienced periods of stability and cultural growth under rulers like Vasujeshta Shunga, who focused on consolidating territories and strengthening internal administration. His reign, marked by peace and cultural continuity, helped maintain the empire's stability after years of expansion. Later, Bhagabhadra Shunga further solidified the empire's diplomatic standing by fostering relations with the Indo-Greek kingdom. The erection of the Heliodorus pillar during his reign, a symbol of cross-cultural exchange, underscores the Shunga Empire's openness to diplomacy and cultural interaction, even as it championed Brahmanical Hinduism. However, by the time Devabhuti assumes power, the central authority has weakened. Regional governors and vassals, sensing the emperor's indifference, begin to assert their independence. Devabhuti retreats into a life of indulgence, leaving the empire vulnerable to corruption, betrayal, and eventual collapse. The emperor's detachment emboldens those who seek power for themselves, and the cracks in the empire widen. Vasudeva Kanva, a powerful minister in the Shunga court, watches this decline with growing ambition. He sees in Devabhuti's weakness an opportunity to seize control. The empire's fate hangs in the balance as Vasudeva quietly consolidates power, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. 78 BC, the storm breaks. Vasudeva Kanva, no longer content to rule from the shadows, makes his move. He orchestrates a coup, striking with precision and ruthlessness. Devabhuti, the once mighty emperor, is caught off guard. The palace, a place of pleasure and comfort, becomes the scene of his demise. Vasudeva's agents, well-placed and loyal, overpower the palace guards with little resistance. Devabhuti is assassinated, his life ending as abruptly as his reign. The Shunga Empire, which had stood for nearly a century, collapses in a single, bloody night. The Kanva dynasty rises from the ashes, marking the end of an era. Vasudeva Kanva, now in power, sets about solidifying his rule over the fractured territories. The empire that once united vast regions of India is now a shadow of its former self, divided and weakened by years of neglect and internal strife. The consequences of Devabhuti's indulgence and the subsequent coup ripple through the region. The political landscape of northern India is forever altered, with new powers rising to fill the vacuum left by the Shungas. The once proud dynasty becomes a cautionary tale of how even the mightiest empires can fall when their leaders lose sight of their duties. The story of Devabhuti Shunga lingers as a powerful reflection on the impermanence of power and the consequences of failing to heed the signs of decay. The question that remains is whether future rulers will learn from his downfall, or if they too will succumb to the same fatal flaws.